behind the scenes with future country rock blues kings and queens. Discover them first with Palm Mash TV. Palm Mash TV.
Well, hello there. It's Paul Mash TV time again. We want to thank you for joining us on another episode. We've got a great interview coming up in just a moment. But if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button and the bell. You'll always be notified of any new episodes coming your way. And check out the comments section to leave one there for us. We'd love to hear from you there. And if you pay attention to the description and the closing credits at the end of the show, we're going to have contact info for you. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. From Calgary, Alberta, Canada today, from the band Accidental Martyr, we have Richard Coutts. And he's a great artist, and the band is a great band, and I think you're really going to love him. And before we get into that, though, here's another quick word from the Caden Gordon Show, so don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
It is Caden from the Caden Gordon Show. Today's best country mix. Check out my show at thecadengordonshow.com.
Okay, we're back, and with us from Calgary, Alberta, Canada today, we have Richard Coutts from Accidental Martyr. And I want to thank you for coming on the show there, Richard.
Well, it's great to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how it began for you? I mean, I'm sure you always wanted to get into music since you were a kid, but maybe you fell into it much later in life. Go ahead and tell us your story, though.
Well, I think most people from my generation fell in love with the Beatles when they were on Ed Sullivan back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And even though at a young age, I knew that was it. And for one way or the other, I got in bands. And even though I took up a career as a teacher, I was always in party bands. And I spent about 40 years playing in party bands, playing all sorts of music, from rock to jazz to blues to folk to country music. And I took an early retirement and started writing my own stuff. And then after writing it, I thought, there's not any point of writing music unless you can't share it with other people. So I started recording it, and it's done quite well so far.
Okay. Well, that's quite a journey there. Maybe you have a few more years ahead of you, and I hope you do. And
I hope so too.
I know you mentioned the Beatles. Were there any other bands besides the Beatles that kind of influenced you?
Oh, there's so many. The amazing thing is that you start off listening to one group, and then because the Beatles were so diverse, and you found out that they based so much of their music on R&B and American music, that you started listening to that type of music, and then it led to other music from all around the world. So I have so many favorites. It's hard to pinpoint just one. However, the Beatles were the ones that kind of started it all.
Right. Yeah, that's true, because I think they were probably one of the first few people to come out with rock and roll, back in the 60s and I mean the 50s too, maybe, but they were definitely legendary, and so I can see how you got the Beatles as your main influence there. Why don't you tell everybody how we can find you? I mean, I'm sure you're on all streaming platforms, social media platforms, maybe you have an official site. Tell everybody about all that.
Yes, my site is accidentalmartyr.ca, but as you point out, I'm on the platforms, and we just passed 100,000 streams on Spotify earlier this spring, so we're quite pleased with that. And the new song that you're going to play is doing quite well right now, and looking forward to putting out more singles and possibly an album later this year.
Okay, well, everybody check that out on all those streaming platforms, and I know he would love you for that, and like you said, he's on an official website too, and I guess you're on some social media sites and
on Facebook.
I know, like I said, you won't be able to get enough of them. So, let's see. The song we were just talking about was "Why Be Lonely." Is there quite a story behind that song?
Yeah, usually with the type of songs, when you get older, you kind of venture out of the love songs and more into songs about social impact. And it was essentially a song about people who bury themselves in work when they're trying to avoid their problems. And it was just about a person saying, lighten up, life is so much more than work.
Okay. Well, it sounded self-explanatory to me, and it sounded like it is a little bit there. And it's a great song, and I know you guys, as usual, love it. And we'll get to that in a second. But Richards, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. Come back anytime you want to plug something new. Maybe we'll have you back on sometime.
Sounds very good. You have a really good summer.
All right, you too. And here it is, Richard Coutts with Accidental Murder with Why Be Lonely, and it begins right now.